Before we get into the agenda, I want to introduce and welcome our new Director of Public Works, Jason Godby. Welcome aboard. And I know you're just in the process of logging in, and we'll get to, there we are. Welcome. We're really, really happy that you've joined Team Malahide, and we look forward to working with you. Also want to welcome at the front of the room, interim CEO Boylan, who will be acting the role of CEO during our recruitment process. So
Eric, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can.
Oh, good. So I don't know if you heard us. We have moved into the Committee of Adjustment meeting, and we're ready for an overview of the application from Brad Wiltsey. Are you prepared to give us an overview?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Before Council tonight is minor grants application for 51272 Clinton Street. The owner is proposing to construct a 128 square meter addition to the existing dwelling for an attached garage. And the application seeks to permit a reduced rear yard setback of 6.5 meters, whereas the bylaw requires a rear yard of 7.5 meters. The western portion of the property is designated as residential, and the eastern portion is designated as open space, floodway, flood fringe, and hazard lands under the Malahide official plan. The proposed addition would be located outside of any hazardous areas, and Catfish Creek Conservation Authority has provided comments that the proposed garage in its current or its proposed location would not be raise any concerns. However, Conservation Authority has noted that any development would require permit approval from the Conservation Authority. So the application maintains the general intent of the official plans. The intent of the rear yard setback is to provide adequate building separation between adjacent properties while ensuring that also properties have a sufficient outdoor amenity space. So the subject lands have adequate outdoor space in their side yard to the east of the dwelling, and it's not anticipated that there be any impacts to the water course located on the eastern side of the property. So the application maintains the general intent of the bylaw. The proposed minor variance isn't anticipated to impact any adjacent properties or adjacent property owners of using their properties for permitted uses. And so the application is deemed to be minor in nature. And the proposed minor variance would also be a desirable development for the subject lands. There have been no comments received from other agencies or general public as the date of writing this report. And staff are recommending that the application be approved, subject to 2 of the typical conditions for minor variance applications, as well as during the application review process, it was identified that there is an existing accessory structure that currently encroaches on the property to the north. And so it's recommended that as a condition of approval, that should be relocated entirely onto the subject lands. That concludes the presentation. We have any questions from members of council.
Thank you for that. First, let me check. Do we have the applicant or the agent either online? So not in the room? No. And there were no other comments received. Anyone else in attendance wishing to make any comments on this application? If not, I'll ask the committee members if you have any questions or comments. Seeing none. So thank you to everyone in attendance, and we can ask the committee now to make the decision on the application. And Clerk Adams, can you read the resolution, please?
That report number DS 23-20 entitled Minor Variance Application number D13 MV 0623 of Brad Wiltsey and affecting lands described as Plan 71 Lot 32 11R 236 Part 1 Part 3 in the Township of Malahide 51272 Clinton Street be received, and that the Township of Malahide Committee of Adjustment approve minor variance application number D13 MV 0623 to permit the construction of an attached garage with a rear setback of 6.5 meters, and that the approval shall be subject to the following conditions. 1, that the owner applicant obtain the necessary building permit within 2 years from the date of decision to the satisfaction of the chief building official, ensuring that the approved variance applies only to the proposed accessory structure as illustrated with the application, and that the structure be constructed as per the details shown in the drawings as provided with the application, site location, and architectural detail to the satisfaction of the chief building official. That the existing shed be relocated within the boundaries of the subject lands and is situated to comply with the requirements of the zoning bylaw to the satisfaction of the chief building official.
Mover and seconder. Counselor Wilson, Counselor Cerna, all in favor? Carried. And this evening we have a second hearing, so we can remain in a committee of adjustment meeting. And the purpose of this hearing is to consider an application for minor variance as submitted by owner Michael Terry relating to property at concession 7 North Part Lot 7 RP 11R 1240 Part 1, municipally known as 15539 Whitaker Road. Mr. Steele, can you provide an overview of the application, please?
Yes, the owner of this property is proposing to construct a carport in the front yard, and so the application seeks to permit an accessory structure to be closer to the road than the principal use on the property, as well as permit a reduced front yard setback of 8 meters, whereas the bylaw requires a front yard setback of 15 meters. The subject lands are designated as agriculture under the county and township official plans. The proposed accessory structure would be permitted use under both those policies. This minor variance maintains the general intended purpose of the official plans. The zoning bylaw does not permit accessory buildings and structures to be located in a front yard, which is defined as the area between the front wall of principal use, in this case, the existing auto body repair shop, and the front lot line. The intent of these provisions is to ensure that the rural character there is preserved, as well as ensures that there's adequate setback of structures from roadways. It's known that the principal use of the auto repair shop is located in the northwest corner of the property, as well as the southern portion of the property is occupied by the accessory dwelling, as well as existing septic system. And so these few alternative locations for the proposed carport. In addition, the proposed carport is not anticipated to impact the roadway or adjacent properties. And so the application maintains the general intent and purpose of the bylaw. As noted, the location of the carport would be away from adjacent properties, and so it's not anticipated that the proposed carport would impact either adjacent landowners or their ability to use their properties for permitted uses. And so the application is considered minor in nature. In addition, the carport is supposed to be located in an already graveled area that is currently used for parking. And so that the application is seen to be appropriate development for the use of the subject lands. And no concerns have been received from agencies or from the general public at the date of writing this report. And so staff are recommending that the application be approved subject to typical conditions for minor variance applications. And that concludes my presentation. If you have any questions from members of council.
Thank you. Before we move to questions, Mr. Terry, do you have any comments? Anything you want to add? And
Okay,
if you
thank
can.
you.
If you
Okay,
can
good
state
evening,
your-
councillors.
Yep, state
New
your name,
mayor.
please.
After 45 years of being in business, 45 years ago, pickup trucks were kind of small. These days, the size of trucks and the size of my business is not catering to that. And this carport outside would be a big value to me to keep vehicles underneath, keep them dry, and give me another 45 years of business maybe. So I would appreciate, your vote, and it would help me a whole lot. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Terry. Anyone else in attendance wishing to make any comments? Nothing to add, all right. And any questions or comments from committee members? Councillor Leach.
Through you, Madam Mayor. So this structure is semi-permanent. It's no footings, it's essentially just.
It's just like 16 bolt to the ground. You want me to move it? I can move it.
So yes, it's not something that's once it's there in perpetuity. This has the ability to not be there once you are past its use.
Thank you for that. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, may we have the resolution so the committee can make its decision.
The report number DS 23-21 entitled Application Number D13 MV 07-23 of Michael Terry and affecting lands described as Concession 7 North Part Lot 7 RP 11R 1240 Part 1 in the Township of Malahide, known as 15539 Whitaker Road, be received, and that the Township of Malahide Committee of Adjustment approve application number D13 MV 07-23 to permit an accessory structure to be located in a front yard and permit a reduced front yard setback of 8 meters. And that the approval shall be subject to the following conditions. One, that the owner applicant obtain the necessary building permit within 2 years from the date of decision to the satisfaction of the chief building official, ensuring that the approved variance applies only to the proposed accessory structure as illustrated within the application, and that the structure be constructed as per the details shown in the drawings as provided with the application, site location, and architectural detail to the satisfaction of the chief building official.
Mover and seconder, Councillor Cerna, Councillor Lewis, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda. To get out. Oh, we have to get out of the Committee of Adjustments. Yes, that would be good. So we have have a nice evening. May I have a resolution to resume the council meeting and adjourn the Committee of Adjustments meeting?
That the Committee of Adjustment for the Township of Malahide be adjourned and the council meeting reconvene at 7:45 PM.
Mover and seconder. Councillor Leach, Councillor Wilson, all in favor? Carried. Okay, and now next on the agenda, so we'll do this a little bit differently, but we will move into closed session so we can receive a presentation from our consultants, and we needed to accommodate their schedule. So we have the motion to move into closed session, please.
The council move into closed session at 7:46 PM pursuant to section 239-2 of the Municipal Act as amended to discuss the following: a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board in regards to a proposed infrastructure project, section 239-2-K.
Mover and seconder, Deputy Mayor Widner, Counselor Lewis, all in favor? Carried. Welcome back. We can resume our regular agenda and open session. Okay, go ahead.
The Malad Council provided direction to staff with matters relating to a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board relating to a proposed infrastructure project.
Mover and seconder. Counselor Leach, Counselor Cerna, all in favor? That's correct. That's carried. So we'll move on to section E, reports of departments. So we'll start with Director Spoor. I think you're up.
Yeah, that's great. No more just to check everybody's ears out the other side. So my first report tonight's for the Q2 report for the overall report for Q2. And so just for a brief overview, I'll give you is so we had 88 incidents over the for the last quarter, which is over a 5-year average of 82 for the same time frame. Call increase was attributed to this quarter for a significant amount of burn complaints we had during the fire ban, which we just had for the dry spell there. So our dollar loss for our quarter was right around just under $25,000 saved. And then the saved amount would be 3.5 million. So we have 3.5 million savers, which is a good dollar amount for saves. We have been numerous fire prevention education activities conducted in this quarter, including fire extinguisher training at Terrace Lodge, fire safety day at the Assumption School, fireworks display in Port Bruce, Springfield Fun Day, and the Canada Day extravaganza at the Old Imperial Farmers Market. Staff also attended a Safer conference in Vaughan, where most departments were represented in the province, and we were there to strategize and develop a new and hopefully improved program to focus on smoke alarms in homes and the need for lower the fire deaths in the province. Last year, we had 133 fire-related deaths in the province, which is the highest it's been in decades. This year, September 28th, we'll be offering, the province will be presenting the first Check Your Fire Alarm Day, which will be our new campaign for the province. There's some good stuff coming out. So Check Your Smoke Alarm Day is going to be heavily pushed by all fire departments, and it'll be September 28th, and we're planning on doing it every year from now on. So the cost recovery bylaw, which we put in place in February, is showing some positive results at the short term. The window, we've currently around $60,000 invoices already from February, and we'll be able to provide a better detail at the end year-end report. This concludes my report. If council has any other questions on the report, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you very much. Any questions on the quarterly report for emergency services or comments? Seeing none, may I have the resolution? Clerk Adams.
That report number F-23-04 entitled Emergency Services Activity Report, Quarterly Report, April to June be received.
Mover and seconder. Counselor Wilson. Counselor Leach, all in favor? That's carried. And Director Spoor, you now have a follow-up on the emergency management.
Through your mayor, so this second report from tonight is going to be a recap of our 23 ice breaking conducted over this last winter. So on December 1st, council passed a resolution to contract L. Simon Construction for securing a drag line for the season, and for us to also secure the availability of a longer excavator for beyond call. Staff negotiations allowed us to lower our standby charges by nearly 40% from its original bid amount, and also add some flexibility to the terms of the deployment. Fortunately, this year we did have a favorable season for ice melting, and the costs were kept lower. This has also allowed us for early removal of the equipment, creating some additional savings. We are currently in collaboration with Catfish Creek Conservation Authority staff at this time, preparing for next year's winter ice season, and already started the process of securing ice breaking equipment for 2024. If council has any other questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you for that follow-up report. I think it was important to clarify. So of course, council had agreed to the worst case scenario and budgeted for the 96,000, but I think it was important to report the actual numbers. So, and good job on the negotiations as well, and good job from Mother Nature for the additional savings. Any questions or comments? Councillor Wilson?
I'm glad to see the follow-up report. It makes the sort of initial sting not nearly as bad. So it's nice to see that we were able to provide the protection that wasn't needed, and it didn't hurt as bad as what it could have. So it's kudos to all involved, including the Simon's construction company for being reasonable with us and helping out the ratepayers. Thanks.
There are no other questions or comments. May I have the resolutions, Clerk Adams? Okay.
The report number F 23-05 entitled Follow-up Report Emergency Management Icebreaking Services be received.
Mover and seconder. Deputy Mayor Widner, Councillor Lewis, all in favor? Carried. And thank you, Director Spore. The next section of reports is from Director Godby, Public Works. The first report is the tender award for the wheel loader. Over to you.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor, through you to council. Report PW 2344, as you mentioned, was for the tender award for a wheel loader. This is a mildly good news story of hopefully to get a new piece of equipment within budget. Also utilizing our newly formed fleet equipment review committee. So we issued an RFP and we're able to receive 5 bids as well as do some demos of the equipment. And after the committee had reviewed all of this equipment, they chose their preferred unit, which is a new Cat 930M wheel loader. It is within the approved capital budget. That is also including an extended warranty and after the trade-in of our existing wheel loader. So not sure if you have any other questions or looking for any other details, I'd be happy to provide those. Otherwise, we'd be looking to move forward with this purchase.
Thank you for that. And I know we've been in transition between directors, so and with the committee as well, sort of newly formed formally. So I'm not sure if there was as much involvement perhaps in this piece of equipment from the committee, but I think, like I said, I think that's being implemented, right? Any comments or questions, Deputy Mayor Widner?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. It's a pretty decent price. We're getting a good trade-in value. Getting a good trade-in value for it, which says to me that people still want the old machines because they're reliable, but it's got enough hours on it, it'll be useful for someone. Like I say, that extended warranty is a great option because you're not gonna go wrong doing that. And like I say, the equipment committee really didn't get much at the end of this, but there was a couple things I had to change on it, but I guess we can still look into some of that stuff. I'm not so sure I love all the emissions on this thing, and that's just the way it has to be, I guess. But anyway, hopefully it'll work out well. And how long do you figure for delivery? Was it in here?
Through the chair, I don't believe delivery was in there. I know it was, I believe, a couple months, but that's just off the top of my head. I can definitely report back to you on that if you're interested, get you a timeline for trade-in and delivery of the new unit. I know it's not nearly as long lead times as we were experiencing even a year or two ago. So I think the hope would be that it'll be in service by this fall.
Okay, it's not an in-stock unit then. It has to be built. Okay. Thank you.
Counselor Leach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So the control GP payload demo of 250 hours, is that something that's going to be purchased? Or is that something that's not used by the township?
Director Gopi. Or
Sorry, through the chair, page 60, you said? I was just getting there. Yes, sorry, through you, Madam Mayor, that was something that was not deemed necessary by our operations. Some of these new equipment, they do come with extra bells and whistles, just like any of the vehicles you buy now, right? That some people just don't need or don't want. So if we don't need it, we're not going to get it. And hopefully that's reflected in the price.
thank you for that. Any further questions? If not, we'll entertain the resolution.
That report number PW 23-44 entitled Tender Award Wheel Loader be received, and that the bid received from Tormont Cat of London, Ontario in the amount of $320,781.49 plus applicable taxes for the purchase of one new Caterpillar 930M wheel loader with auto greasing system be accepted, and that the staff be authorized to add premier extended warranty coverage 6-year for 400,000 hours at the time of purchase for an additional cost of 11,270. And that staff be authorized to trade in the existing 2008 case 721E wheel loader to Tormont Cat of London, Ontario for a total of $53,500. And that the mayor and clerk be authorized to enter into an agreement with Tormont Cat of London, Ontario for the supply of the above noted new wheel loader.
Mover and seconder. Counselor Lewis. Counselor Leach, all in favor? Carried. Sold. Yes. Next on the agenda, we have the drainage update report. Over to you, Mr. Godby again.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, through you to council. Report PW 2343 is our drainage update report, giving a brief status update of everything as of July 1st of this year. Unfortunately, our drainage superintendent, Mr. Lopez, is unable to get here tonight. So I would propose that you take this report as information, which it is. And if you have any specific questions or concerns with any of these drains, please reach out to myself or Bob, and we can get you some comments back if you have anything that you're looking for that is not contained within this overall report.
And that is totally fair. Any questions that will be forwarded? Counselor Leach.
My question is somewhat parallel to this, but when working on the drains, how many toxic noxious weeds are staff coming in contact with? Because I've noticed that there's quite a few along some of the waterways. And how is that being handled when going out to work on these drains?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Leach. That is a very good question, and that is something I can find out some more on. I know that staff are trained for identification, of some of the especially bad ones out there, like, the poison ivies, poison oaks, giant hogweed, so that they can be aware to not expose themselves to that. And I do know that when there are concerns with any noxious weeds out in the roadside anywhere. If they get reported to us, we can investigate. We can also bring in the county weed inspector to potentially issue orders to us or property owners if there is anything that needs to be done to address them.
Thank you for that. Okay, so if there are no other questions, the resolution, please.
That report number PW 23-43 entitled Drainage Update Report be received.
Mover and seconder, Counselor Cerna, Counselor Lewis. All in favor? Carried. There, still adjusting to new.
There
New
you go.
Malahide technology. There.
Yeah.
And you have another report on the Copenhagen Park landscaping.
Sure
Please.
do. Thank you, Madam Mayor, through you to council. PW 2346 is for the award of an RFQ for the Copenhagen Park landscaping. I understand that there's quite a history surrounding this topic that definitely predates me. However, previous direction was for us to issue an issue a bid for landscaping works at this location. Ultimately, that process was done. We have issued an RFQ. We received it in June, and it's approximately triple the cost of what we had in the budget. So with that in mind, staff recognized that this was obviously something that the community wanted and council supported, hence the approved capital project. We are now seeking permission through our procurement process. We have the ability to go back to the lowest bidder and try to negotiate a price which is going to fit within the capital budget. So essentially, the lowest bid we received was 75,000, and we have 28,000 remaining in the budget to do some work there. Essentially, we would like to negotiate with Beamish Landscaping, who were the low bidder, to see what we could do to bring this project within budget. And that way we can still perform some landscaping services and improvements down at this stormwater management pond. So if council is acceptable to that, we would go back to Beamish and see what we could come up with. We can bring back a conceptual drawing. I understand that there was a previous drawing that council had looked at and kind of approved the general concept of, recognizing that we're looking at a third of the budget. There will be some significant changes, which I highlighted in the report. Some of that could be removal of some of the mulch areas, which provide a benefit of decreasing future annual maintenance costs of having to deal with mulch and weeds and stuff that go there, as well as removing some of the plantings from the edge of the pond, which also provides to better ensure that when we need to maintain this pond in the future, that we're not having to rip out some nice features, and decreasing the number of trees planted around the perimeter and property line of the site. That also just helps to, deal with some of the issues that can arise from boundary trees. So if council is acceptable to that, we will go back, negotiate with Beamish to see what we can do and bring back another conceptual plan for council's ultimate approval.
Yeah, I think that would be important since there was community consultation to bring it back into the public realm. Questions, comments? We'll go with the resolution.
That report number PW 23-46 entitled RFQ Award Copenhagen Park Landscaping be received, and that staff be directed to work with Beamish Landscape Services, Inc. to negotiate the award of the RFQ to fit into the project's allocated budget.
Mover and seconder, Counselor Lewis. Counselor Wilson, all in favor? Carried. And your last report for this evening, Mr. Godby, Ferguson Drain.
All right, thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you to council, report PW 2345 as tender award for the JL Ferguson drain. Unfortunately, I don't have a great amount of detail on the backstory of this one, but it looks as though that we've moved enough through the Drainage Act process that tender was issued and it came in under the engineer's estimate and within budget. So we're now looking to execute on the ultimate construction of this drainage works.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Counselor Wilson?
Through you, Madam Mayor, there'll be lots of happy people that the drain's getting completed.
Thank you for that. The resolution?
That report number PW 23-45 entitled Tender Award JL Ferguson Drain be received, and that the tender for the JL Ferguson Drain be awarded to AG Hayter Contracting in the amount of $206,843.75 plus applicable taxes.
Mover and seconder. Counselor Wilson, Counselor Leach, all in favor? Carried. Congratulations on your first meeting, Mr. Godby. You made it. The next report will be from our CO Boylan, the Health and Safety Policy and Occupational Health and Safety Act Annual Update. Over to you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The purpose of this report is twofold. First being to renew the township's health and safety policy, which is required annually according to the Occupational Health and Safety Act. And second, to communicate to council reported incidents throughout the year. So getting into the details of the report, staff report 14 incidents as of July last year compared to 13 incidents the year prior. Each of the incidents are briefly summarized in the staff report for council's information. In relation to violence and harassment inquiries and complaints, we received one inquiry and one formal complaint, which is pretty much in line with our prior history. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Counselor Leach?
How large does the Joint Health and Safety Committee need to be for the township?
That's a great question. I don't know off the top of my head, so we'll have to get back to you with that one.
Further questions or comments? Okay. Thank you for this report. Really important to keep track of what's going on. Health and safety is a priority. So may I have the resolution, please?
The report number HR 23-07 entitled Health and Safety Policy and Occupational Health and Safety Act Annual Update be received, and that the mayor and interim CAO be authorized to sign the health and safety policy on behalf of the corporation.
Mover and seconder. Counselor Cerna. Counselor Leach, all in favor? Carried. And the next report is regarding the CO Recruitment Committee. Over to you.
Thank you. So according to the township's hiring procedure, the hiring committee for our new CAO will be comprised of Mayor Giguere, Deputy Mayor Widner, and one councillor. So based on that policy, what we're looking for tonight is for council to select the final committee member. Thank you.
Counselor Cerna. Volunteering, sure. Anybody else want to compete with that offer? Yes, and we should clarify some process wise, because this is a CEO position, although we'll have a committee, there will be involvement for all of council at a later stage in the process. So we'll let the committee do, the grunt work of reviewing candidates, and but definitely this is the only position that council oversees and hires, and therefore everyone will be involved. So looks like there's consensus on Councillor Cerna joining the committee. So may I have the resolution?
That report number CAO 23-10 entitled CAO Recruitment Committee be received, and that Counselor Cerna be appointed to sit with the mayor, deputy mayor, and human resources manager to form the recruitment committee for the hiring of a chief administrative officer.
Mover and seconder. Counselor Lewis, Deputy Mayor Whitner, all in favor? Carried. Next, we have a couple of reports from outside boards. You want to do them separately or as one together? So any comments or questions on those reports? Okay, so we'll receive them as one item. Go ahead.
That the following reports of committees and outside boards be noted and filed: Catfish Creek Conservation Authority Program Services Inventory Progress Report and the Long Point Region Conservation Authority minutes of June 7th, 2023.
Mover and seconder. Counselor Wilson, Counselor Lewis, all in favor? Carried. Next is correspondence. There are 11 items. Anyone wish to speak to any items or endorse anything in particular? Not seeing anything this evening, so may I have a resolution to receive the correspondence?
That the following 11 correspondence items be noted and filed.
Mover and seconder, Counselor Lewis, Counselor Wilson. All in favor? Carried. Next, we have other business. Deputy Mayor Whitner.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Once again, Jason, welcome. And hopefully when you start doing our strategic plan, we can go on a road tour because I've got a bunch of spots I'd like to show you. I went for a run today, or not a run, a drive. And Wilson Line is getting horrible in spots with the edge breaking down. When you head off west to 74, and Dorchester Road is too, and there's some tree growth on Maple Line where you can't see, and I got lots of, one drive got me all wound up today anyway. Thanks for that. Hopefully we have a good tour. I did receive a call from a truck driver in this community who's been a truck driver all his life. And he called me on Wednesday. And he said, Mark, I almost got killed today, 52 and 73. And everybody in this room, if I knew it, they would know this guy. He said, when are you guys going to do something? But he hadn't looked at any of the papers or anything. He didn't know we were doing anything. So after I informed him, he was going to call some of our county councilors. And I hope everybody in this room had a chance to call some of the county councilors, because if it doesn't happen, it won't happen. But something has to be done. And that's the only way it's going to get done. It's not going to happen if you don't call these guys. So, but anyway, he was very upset. And this isn't the first close call he's had at that corner. So just pass that along. Thank you.
Counselor Cerna.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to add to that, Deputy Mayor, day before yesterday, I was talking to a gentleman. I might be the same guy you were talking to. If his ankle was in a cast, truck driver, and told me the same story about that intersection, and made me, or wanted me to tell you that, pass it along, that we're doing the right thing. Because he said it's terrible. Truck traffic through Springfield is terrible, and that intersection is a killer. So I told him that I was doing my part to call all the county councilors and try to get them to do something. And the response is good from the guys I've talked to.
Yes.
And they, I tell them that once the Volkswagen plant goes in there, the Amazon plant, we've got a bunch of trucking companies around here. It's going to get wild. And I keep saying all the time, we have to be proactive, not reactive. And so I hope everybody's doing the same thing. So, and we got to do something with traffic through Springfield, because he said they still get those jack brake guys and everything. It's terrible. So, and I mentioned the speed sign thing, and he's suggested getting that cruiser from the mattress place and putting somewhere in Tulsa or in Springfield. So I thought it was a good idea.
Thank you. Anyone else? I'd like to take the opportunity to address the correspondence that we received from from Aylmer. This was regarding, I think everybody received it this week, it was regarding the EECC governance legal review. And in this correspondence, we were notified that the town of Aylmer decided to release the legal opinion they received, and this was despite the governance structure that we put around that whole process. So there's a resolution, so let's table that and then we can open it up for discussion.
Whereas Malahide appointed 2 members of council to the EECC Governance Committee upon request by the EECC Board of Directors and embarked on governance review process in good faith. Whereas the EECC Governance Committee met only once on May 1st, 2023 and only passed sorry. No, there's a
That's one resolution.
icon in front of it. Only passed one resolution agreeing to take only one first step toward a more fulsome governance review process. Whereas this resolution stated that each CAO seek independent legal review upon the behalf of their member municipalities regarding the EECC's incorporation, interpretation of the joint municipal board, liability, and the funding agreement specific to clauses around ownership and operation. Whereas the resolution directed the CAOs to report back to the committee. Whereas the town of Aylmer issued correspondence to Malahide on July 18th, indicating that Aylmer Council resolved to publicly post the legal review obtained by their CAO after waiving solicitor-client privilege without having called a governance committee meeting and without allowing for each CAO to report back to the governance committee at the same time as agreed upon. Whereas Malahide considers the action taken by Aylmer Council to be irregular and inconsistent with the desired collaborative approach upon the governance committee's very first and only resolution. Be it resolved that Malahide Council agrees to issue correspondence to the EECC Board of Directors indicating that the 2 members appointed to the EECC Governance Committee will no longer participate in the committee meetings and recommending that all governance issues be directed to and handled by the EECC Board.
Thank you. Can I have a mover and seconder? Counselor Cerna, moved by Counselor Cerna, seconded by Counselor Lewis. Any further comments or questions? Counselor Cerna?
I agree. And furthermore, I think we should put Aylmer on notice that we're getting pretty tired of what they're doing. They went ahead and ordered that Zamboni without our permission, with the crappiest excuse I ever heard, that we were supposed to be in a lame duck position after an election. Okay, they seem to want to run the show themselves. I think we should put them on notice if that's what they want to do. When our time is up, they can have it. And let them know now. I don't know when the timeline is. It's a couple years or whatever, but if that's what they want to do, then give it to them. We'll sell it to them for $1. We're going to be money ahead. Because if that's how they want to run it, then so be it. And I'm getting tired of it. We keep spinning that wheel over and over again. What do they call that? Futility. Keep trying the same thing over and over again, and the results never change. And we're doing the same thing again. And I'm tired of it. So, you know, I get so frustrated with it. And I'm tired of it. And I think everybody here is. So let them have it. Thank you.
Any further comments? Deputy Mayor Widner?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I don't understand where they're coming from with this stuff. This just goes on and on and on. It is supposed to be a partnership, but obviously isn't. Like buying that ice resurfacer without asking us. And I know some members of Aylmer Council weren't even aware that they bought it, because I was approached by someone wondering why I was kind of upset. And I said, we bought it. No, we didn't, did we? Yeah, you did. Oh, we didn't know. Seems like staff is running this, though. I don't know. It is. What have we done to upset the Aylmer Council? They're all voting against us, but Mr. Councillor Stern is right. If they want the thing, they can have it, because we're gonna have to cut the cord because this isn't getting any better. They want the Zamboni thing, pay for the thing as far as I'm concerned. That's a lot of constituents that told me if they're gonna order it, then they should pay for it. Because this is crazy. Thank you.
Yeah, so it was a bit disappointing and surprising because I think that was the spirit of the governance committee was to create a joint committee and work together to resolve the issues together and right off the bat, after just one resolution and one step, we're already off the process. So we'll find another way because we will continue to maintain those principles. We're one team, no surprises, and seek to understand each other. So we have a mover and seconder, all in favor? And that's carried. Next, we have bylaws. And there are none, so we don't have bylaws this evening. And so if I find my right piece of paper, we can move back into closed session. We have a couple other matters to deal with. So may I have the resolution to move into closed session, please?
That council move into closed session at 9:10 PM pursuant to section 239-2 of the Municipal Act as amended to discuss the following: personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and relating to labor relations or employee negotiations, section 239-2-B-D.
Mover and seconder. Counselor Leach, Counselor Lewis, all in favor? And that's carried.
Mallard Council provided direction to staff with matters relating to personnel matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and relating to labor relations or employee negotiations.
Do you need a mover and seconder? Mover and seconder? Counselor Lewis, Counselor Cerna, all in favor? Carried. And we have just the confirmatory bylaw.
The bylaw number 23-54 being a confirmatory bylaw be given first, second, and third readings and properly signed and sealed.
Mover and seconder, Counselor Cerna, Counselor Leach, all in favor? Opposed? That's carried.
That council adjourn its meeting at 9:40 PM to meet again on August 3rd, 2023 at 7:30 PM.
Mover and seconder, Counselor Glinsky, Deputy Mayor Widner, all in favor? Carried.